Okay, hello everybody. Let's start the event for today. Welcome to the first online webinar of CAREC Innovation Decoded Initiative, People's Republic of China episode. I'm Hao Shupeng, ecosystem specialist from China and consultant at ADB. Very honored to moderate the event today. First of all, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for taking the time to join us. Before we start, I would like to mention about the simultaneous interpreters. You can select your desired language, for example, English, Chinese, and Russian. You can post your questions in the Q&A box during the event. And we will also have a Q&A session at the end of the event. This project is supported by the Public of Korea, eAsia, and Knowledge Partnership Fund. The CAREC Innovation Decoded Initiative stems from the CAREC Program and serves as an implementation of the CAREC 2030 digital strategy besides the CAREC Startup Map, CAREC Innovation Network, and the CAREC University Startup Generator Initiative. On behalf of the CAREC Program team, I invite all of you to join the community and stay tuned. Okay, before we start, let's welcome Dr. Ai Mingzhou, Deputy Country Director in People's Republic of China Resident Mission to give us an opening remarks. Welcome, Dr. Zhou. Please.
Thank you, Haosu. Dear CAREC Digital Sector Focal, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon or good morning, whenever you are. On behalf of ADB and the CAREC program, I'm delighted to welcome you to the launch of the CAREC Innovation Decoded program. This session marks a critical milestone in implementing the CAREC Digital Strategy 2030, endorsed by the 20th Ministerial Conference in 2021. I would like to thank you all for joining us today. For those who may not be familiar with the CAREC program, it stands for the Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Program, a partnership of 11 countries and development partners, including ADB, all working together to promote development through regional cooperation and integration, leading to the accelerated economic growth and poverty reduction. The CAREC member countries represent East, Central, South Asia, and the South Caucasus regions, one of the world's most populous and resource-endowed regions. The CAREC Innovation Decoded program is an addition to the ongoing activity under the CAREC Innovation Network Initiative, which focuses on reducing the digital divide and fostering collaboration among the CAREC countries. The CAREC Innovation Decoded Program will be rolled out as episodes focusing on the key success factors that help to create a successful startup ecosystem. For the first episode, the People's Republic of China has been chosen as a showcase country due to its highly developed startup ecosystem, accumulated knowledge and experience, which could be shared with other countries in the region. The program will share knowledge about how the startup ecosystem operates in the People's Republic of China and how the CAREC startup ecosystem players can connect with their Chinese counterparts. Through this platform, we aim to provide networking opportunities, resources, and valuable knowledge on how to work with the Chinese startup ecosystem. Other CAREC countries will be showcased for their successes in the following episodes. The People's Republic of China episode consists of 6 events, initiating discussions that will inform participants about success factors and enabling policies of the Chinese startup ecosystem, and create opportunities for networking with Chinese peers. I hope this event will be fruitful and all participants will have a great learning and networking experience. I wish you all a successful and enjoyable event. Thank you. Back to you, Haosu.
Thank you, Dr. Zhou, for a very informative background introduction of the initiative, and we look forward to sharing more of the Chinese startup ecosystem with your support. Okay, so during our previous communications with our CIM members, funding and ecosystem development were the 2 most interested topics. Therefore, we invited 2 very experienced speakers to share their learnings of investment and incubation from academia to industry today. Firstly, let's welcome Dr. Kai Ying, Managing Director of Chinese Academy of Sciences Capital, to share his presentation of creating a capital ecosystem for high-tech innovation. Dr. Ying, please.
Okay, thank you, Haosu. Hello, everyone. Next, our introduction for my presentation. PPT 是你那边有显示吗？
Okay. Here, yeah, let me share Dr. Ying's slides here. One moment.
Thank you.
All right, hold on.
Okay. 我分享的题目呢是打造科创基金生态。
So my topic is establishing founder ecosystem and focusing on science and technology innovation. So how we use equity and investment to ensure that the major R&D results, especially under the Chinese Academy of Sciences, so we can commercialize these research results. Since the 18th People's Congress, the Chinese government conducted a series of policy programming in terms of legislation of science and technology, outcome commercialization. In terms of legal basis, it provides clear policy and incentives in terms of equity to promote the commercialization and so-called transformation of those science and technology achievements. So some of the key points is that our academy, research institute, and the universities have their own right to commercialize and pricing their research outcomes, and the right of revenues and ownership, and there is a share how that could be shared among different players. And also there are pilots on these rights share, which is to further facilitate the startup and commercialization of science and the technology research results. So these also provide bigger rights to the scientists for them to commercialize the outcome they generated during their full-time job. So this provided a mechanism for them to commercialize their research outcome, to expand their decision power, to incentivize their own innovation capacities. So during this part, CAS, especially the holding company, the CAS holding company, for a long time has been exploring using what kind of financial instruments to facilitate and accelerate the commercialization of research results, so they can serve as drivers of economic growth. As said by our leader, economy is the body and finance is the blood, both symbiosis and prosper. So this is very important also for the commercialization of research results. The science investment has been the top priority, and it's also one of the easiest way to operate. Of course, also we set up a science and technology bank and science and technology insurance. The bank will provide that financing. We are also working with insurance companies to develop insurance products, and also providing scientific the tools, the financial tools, the financial policies, and also enabling environment to accelerate the transformation or commercialization of the science research results. Because some other instruments for CAS holding, we would need a special permit. But what we could do is to do venture capital investment. So we use this venture capital investment to make equity investment to scientists under CAS for their commercialization of their results. So starting from early 2000, when they VC started to develop, and then we are explore using our own fund. At the early stage, we used our own fund and select our own fund managers and make these venture capital investments to science and research results. We could see that especially domestically in the China's science and technology funds played very important role to promote economic restructuring and upgrading. Although there were the pandemics, nevertheless, the domestic equity investment market also we're seeing a fast, rapid increase in both the number of cases and the total volume. Also, we have a science and innovation board in the China's stock market. And then we establish registration system for the science and innovation board. And also in September 2021, the Beijing Stock Exchange was established to specifically support the start of new companies. So according to the database, we could see there are turning points. In 2018, our financial regulators issued new regulations regarding the asset management by banks, and it clarified that when banks making investment, they have to invest specifically to the projects. That's why they fund of funds of science technology, they blind pools of funding, their businesses start to shrink. However, after that year, we could see the rebound of such equity investment. In the overall science and technology fund of funds, we believe to establish a good fund of funds and establish enabling environment and a policy. This is crucial to increase the efficiency and the effectiveness of science and technology equity investment. Therefore, domestically, we call the regulators and the players that during the economic recovery, please focus more on the focus more of your investment on the science and technology innovation. This could, on one hand, help these funds hedge their risks, and also we have to make sure that the fund of funds actual fund shall flow to the science and technology research results commercialization, which would be key driver of China's economic growth. And this was due to the new regulation of commercial banks asset management. We could see a sudden drop of a business volume. But in 2022, the level have stabilized around 2 trillion RMB. So
也是这个集聚效应非常明显啊，做的优秀的这个管理人啊，募资不断的爆发啊，那可能没有独特这个管理优势或者是独特资源的一些GP呢，也是在募资过程中受到了很大的这个阻碍啊。下面
So there is no translation from Chinese.
国内这个母基金的科技母基金的这个市场的发展呢，大概分为这几个大的阶段啊。从01到06年的时候呢，我们北京中关村01年的时候正式设立创业投资引导基金创业投资引导基金
Fund was established.
一个萌芽期。第二个阶段呢，就是我们
This is the beginning of fund of funds. In the second stage, CAS started to get involved in FOFs. In 2007, we started to prepare for fund of funds. In 2008, working with the National Social Security Fund. As the earliest investors, we started our investment. In the third stage, some market player like wealth management institutions and some other private players started to set up fund of funds. So this is from before 2018. And after 2018, surrounding different industries, S&T, and some verticals, F&F, received a rapid development. Next, CAS. You're all very familiar with it. And I'd like to show you some numbers, which are not the latest ones. And CAS is a pillar of science and technology developments in China. It's the highest level of S&T institutions. It consists of more than 100 research institutes, 3 universities, and 1 university in Shenzhen in the pipeline. So our S&T team in China is quite large. Next slide. Besides our S&T resources, we're also working on industrialization we have the Chinese Academy of Science Holdings that is in charge of this task. And with recent years, its power is more centralized. It's 100% owned by CAS. And this platform supervises the management of all the resources of all research institutes and is in charge of the research finding translations. And like I said earlier, in 2008, we started our preparation. In the beginning, it was just a department. By working with external parties, working with the earliest USD-denominated funds such as IDG, which was our earliest institutional investors. And later, I also will have a speaker from CIMIC and also some fund from Legends and as LPs. And it took us around 10 years to invest in, we invested around 7 billion. And so the funds we got involved is around 120 billion yuan. And in 2019, we spin off from a department to the now CAS holding company. Now, we are in charge of the FOFs of CAS. And now we have a new subscription fund of 5 billion. And by the end of last year, based on our accumulated amount to add to the new subscription, now we manage more than about 25 billion yuan. Next slide. In the makeup of the fund in different stages, surround different industries, we have different coverages. Next. The features of our operation. Throughout our history, we have accumulated experiences. Through our FOF investments, we focus on more bottom industries. And through direct investments, we focus more on the major research findings of CAS and to meet the needs of some key technical teams that align with the national strategies. And we hope that through better management, we want to make sure the project's success rate. Next. Our priorities is centered around S&T innovation. So we have two lines surrounding our own advantages and research institutes that is specialized in industrialization, and also along with China's national strategies surrounding important areas of S&T, national key labs, and also key regions, for example, the Greater Bay Area, the Yangtze River Delta area, and also the Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei region. So these are the strategies for our FOF investments. So it's fund plus key industry direct investment. And also S fund. So this is our main investment strategies and methods. And the role of CAS holding is that as a big platform, we facilitate the translation of national research findings, and that we can support the research team and to facilitate the needs of the country. And we link innovation with industry resources through fundings. Hopefully, through FOF platforms, we can actually link innovation industries better and serve as a bridge, and to have a very accurate conduit between the two, and can facilitate more S&T teams with greater potential so that they can be industry leading and consolidate resources of all innovation teams and facilitate the supply chains of different S&T innovations in China and boost the development. That's my presentation. Thank you for listening.
I think probably our audience have some questions. I think we are a little bit ahead of time. So we still have a couple of minutes if you have questions to ask right now, or you can keep your questions to the end of the event. We'll have 5 minutes at the end for everybody to ask questions. Okay, so if you have questions, you can also add it in our Q&A box. Our colleague will send them the questions to me, and I can ask the speakers also on behalf of the audience. All right, thank you so much. Next, we would like to introduce the second speaker. Please let me share my screen to introduce them. Okay. So next speaker will be the Managing Director and General Manager of Shanghai CIMIC Incubator. It's a very high-profile incubator in Shanghai, and in generally the Chinese incubators around Shanghai, Zhejiang, the Delta, the Yangtze River Delta region. So please, let's welcome Mr. Zhang Ren. His talk will be for the International Cooperation of CIMIC Incubator. Let me share the slides for you. One moment, please. This one.
好，谢谢浩叔，也非常高兴今天在
Thank you, Hao Shu. I'm glad to be here and to get to know so many new friends through CAREC as a platform. Earlier, Mr. Inkai, Dr. Inkai, made the presentation on China's innovation ecosystem, the role capital plays. So he talked about fund of funds and early investments on CAS research, and to explain how capital facilitates startups and also early stage innovation. In his presentation, he talked about two keywords. One is the innovation end and industry end. Capital linking innovation and industry has played an important role. On the other side, innovation services in this chain is also very important. And incubator plays this role to serve technology and serve innovation. So next, I'm going to talk about how CIMIC InnoSpring as an incubator supported by CAS focuses on incubation of hard technology. What we have done in the last 10 years, our experiences, CIMIC InnoSpring is under CAS, that is CAS Holding. We are a incubator platform. So the main incubation direction is hard technology, because we have three characteristics: specialization, internationalization, and branding. Next slide. In our attempts, we emphasize that we must focus on special resources, that is, the cutting-edge hard technology findings from the science and tech institutions under CAS. So those findings need to be translated and commercialized. So compared to other incubators, we have this unique resources. So the source of innovation. So we mainly rely on CIMICs and also CIMIC-funded institute that is called CTRIS Research. Next slide. So what is hard technology? Our incubators always focus on forward-looking incubation. Hard technology takes a long-term investment. It has a higher investment barrier and threshold. So compared to ordinary startups, it takes a long time of R&D and more investments and support.
So we have to provide resources, spaces, and connections to resources to these innovation companies to provide them with opportunities to facilitate their commercial success. For China's current situation is according to the China National Administration of Property Rights. By the end of 2022, there were a lot of invention patents. There are 4.21 million such patents. These research results, their commercialization rate is not high. Our number of invention patents increased quite fast. However, the commercialization is only about 10%. Now, so during China's science and technology innovation, those are the issues they are facing with. It is not widely commercialized. So what we base our operations are on the China's Academy of Sciences and many universities. Those are sources of our science and research results. For example, this is a research institute that has over 100 years of history. Now it's focusing on the IoT, wireless communications, and so on. Such a research institute with over 100 years of history has a lot of supply of ideas and resources. So in our 10 years of practice, what we call there is a 3-in-1 collaborative innovation practices. So that the research institutes, which are the sources of the research results. And also we have a platform we call CITRI. It is so we have an 8-inch maths pilot platform, engineering service platform, and also R&D platform to research on the common technologies. So we also have incubation and industrialization which are made by the CIMIC Holdings and CIMIC Springs. So they provide incubation and capital. So from the R&D to pilot to experimentation and to the incubation. So that is in recent 10 years what the CIMIC has been developed during our explorations. We could see that during this pilot platform in our research transformation, it takes very important role. It also helps our incubators to attract more research results to cluster here. For CIMIC InnoSpring, it is an innovator. It is focusing on our research institute and focusing on advanced sensors and their applications in Shanghai, Jiading. Up until now, we have incubated over 100 startup projects. After decades of effort, we have received acknowledgements from multiple levels of government. Incubators in the whole innovation ecosystem, it serves as the drivers of industrialization. So while acquiring these various accreditations, we also has made good performances and has had good track record. Among all incubators in Shanghai, we have also gained our own reputation. So to be an incubator of so-called hardcore science and technology, we need to have international perspectives. We shall be selective screen and select technologies that might be disruptive. So we have also to be cutting edge in ourselves. We have also international resources. By this, I mean to establish platforms and the channels following the front end technologies and expand the market of these innovative companies. We hire them in and then we step out. Means that we will extensively observe overseas talents and technologies. So they will come to China to innovate and doing research and inventions. And also through our international channel, we shall be able to export these results to overseas market. These are things we have been doing. So we also conducted a series of international exchanges. For example, in silicon-related technology, we worked with Singapore's SciTech and She Silicon Alley Prio. Also, in terms of hydrogen, we worked with Shell. Also, on the IT, we work with the Electronic Communication Research Institute of Egypt. So we have had quite good cooperations in these international corporations. Currently, from our track record, the companies that graduated from our incubators, we have companies that are working on the rapid PCR test. So these products has been introduced to the Thailand market through a Thailand center of our CAS. Also, the smart water meter and the smart power meter, these MBL, which is the core technology, they were introduced to Singaporean markets. We are currently also working with the Egypt Electronics Research Institute on the incubation of these technologies. Those are some important moves that we made last year. as a well-developed incubator, in addition to professional operations and international perspective, for our own brand development, to build the brand name and IP of our incubators. These are also very important. These are the companies we have sold, help them to pull together the resources. And a good brand name is also crucial. So as an incubator, we need to build an innovative ecosystem. We need to take steps to organize events and activities to build up the brand value. And by building such an ecosystem, we're able to leverage more external resources to be able to connect to more strategic partners to serve our startup entrepreneurs. For example, in recent year or two, we are making short videos for scientists. So for each scientist, for each of the project, we make short videos for each of those, help them to raise awareness of their researchers and they themselves. Also, we have incorporated innovation into industries. For example, we work with the Shanghai Automobile Group and in Shanghai Shennen Group. So in terms of smart automobiles and smart chips, we worked with the local big companies to do innovations together. That is also a key part of the survival of an incubator, of an ecosystem. So in this innovation ecosystem, one of the we serve as the key catalyst, which is the incubator. Some of the experiences is that first we need to be an hardcore incubator. We have to focus on projects that has hardcore proprietary technologies. We provide all kinds of resources to help them to grow and to succeed. In the whole process of providing services, we need the whole team to have artisanship so that they will be able to have in-depth discussion with the innovators and startups. And also we shall have the capacity to pull together various resources to support those startups. We also need to explore and discover the cutting edge research results in companies, research institutes, academies, and universities. We provide them with capital to support the development. We provide the supporting resources. We shall have a good eyesight to be able to see projects with good potential and perspective. Then with the combination of capital, we're able to become a very successful incubator. So for science and technology incubator, the commercialization of research results, we need both the global perspective, but also need the support of international markets so that the incubator could be more effective and influential. Now, today we are sharing these innovation ecosystem and the incubator's role in that. I think if the incubators can connect with more resources internationally, it's not only would benefit projects within the incubator, but could also share our incubation experiences with our CAREC partners. That's why this afternoon we're able to share with you some of our experiences in serving the startups and the innovations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, John, for your talk. I think it provides a lot of like one firsthand experiences for us and our audience. So for now, we still have a few minutes before we move on to our panel discussion. So I would like to invite our audience to ask questions. I think we have 6 or 7 minutes. Okay, so I think my colleague already received one question from our audience. Let me. So we have our audience named, oh, I I probably won't be able to pronounce it properly, but let me try. Mr. or Miss Krishna, I think his or her question is, it's a good presentation reflective of China's dominance of many sectors of the global economy. How does cash prioritize or select opportunities or ideas for investments? Is the approach different from a privately driven PE or VC fund? This question is to Dr. Ng. Dr. Ng, could you answer it? Thanks.
重复一下嘛，刚刚接了个电话。
Could you repeat the question?
Okay. The question, let me give you this translation of the question. I think it's translated into Chinese.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The question is, let me repeat it in Chinese. 演讲非常精彩，反映了
So brilliant presentation reflective of China's dominance in many sectors of the global economy. So how we select those projects. So our over 1 decade of investment, it's also related to China's economic cycles. We after a decade, our 7 billion of investment all had been collected, and every year we have about 1 billion cash flow back. In terms of the funds selection criteria, we have several dimensions. First is that we focus on their historical performances of their teams. For example, in our past 10 years, we have a track record in our database for their teams. So we have a lot of focus on that.
Secondly, we focus on our own strengths, and we're backed by unique industry resources. So in certain verticals, we'll make arrangements. On one hand, we need to bridge the teams and resources from CAS and through the GP, the fund managers we invest in, and they will make use of their market and industrialization resources so that we have a better chemistry. We're not just one of their LP. We are unique. So on that aspect, we've done very in-depth research and arrangement. On the other hand, we have years of experience in working with some LPs. Like I said earlier, some state-owned partners, such as the National Social Security Fund and also China's insurance group, and also some financial institutions such as some mid and small sized funds and some high-tech funds. So we work with them on a mutual target. So that's how we select VC funds. And in terms of specific direct investment projects, we have 2 strategies. One is the follow investment. We will follow some funds if we find out the development has been quite smooth and steady, and then we will just follow certain funds. On the other hand, surrounding the key projects of CAS, so through proximity to CAS, we can make most use of our core resources and to invest on projects that we are familiar with. And that's basically how we select and prioritize project, the general direction
Thank you, Dr.
and
Ing.
policy.
Here's a follow-up question from the same audience. When you exit the investment, does the ownership transfer to another investor or through listing of the company on the capital markets? So, okay. I hope there's a translation for him.
看是不是断了？是，我看。
Okay, let's do the, before you answer this question, probably let me ask another question on behalf of our audience to Mr. John Ren. Can you please tell us some core offerings of your incubator? 任总，有听众想问您，咱们的孵化器提供的核心的服务有哪些？
我回答一下这个问题。我刚才讲了，我们的
Well,
孵化器是一个专业的服务于
I
硬
was
核
saying earlier, we serve hard technology companies and we specialize in AIoT and smart sensors, chips, module, and use cases. So that's the industrial chain that we incubate. To give you some examples, so we have some chips and the application of chips in IoT or in vehicles. We have some millimeter wave radar chips. So from the initial research finding translation to the A round, B round financing, and also infrared sensors project that we incubated in 2020 to 2022. They worked on the infrared sensor chips used for thermometers that are used to detect the temperature of people through getting close to the forehead. So during COVID, the whole market exploded. So the core technology is sensors and their applications.
Thank you, John. And there's another question for Dr. Ing.
OK，
Yeah, what is the equity model of CAS Capital?
equity model 什么意思啊？
Equity 应该是股权模型。
我们这个没算具体模型，那个就是我们的投资的
Well, I don't want a specific model for investment model and strategy. Speaking of our fund and our asset allocation, 70% is for private equity funds, and 20% is direct investment of equity, 10% is S fund. So that's our asset allocation looks like. So based on our 20 billion yuan of total asset, well, for specific stages, I don't have the specifics. So most of the projects we invest are usually within 3 years and usually in later stages surrounding listing. For S fund, when we invest, it's already in the existing exiting period or stages. And for the direct investment, it's mostly in the growing period, and we'll invest for 5 years before we exit. So that's basically our investment model.
The next question is there any special curriculum you have followed? I think this question is for Mr. Ren. 任总，这个应该是问您有没有就是采用特别的一些课程，或者是
Is there any special curriculum you have followed? Or any services or trainings you provide as incubator?
对创业者还是
You mean for those startup funders or for the team of the startups, the trainings for them? I'm guessing that's what you're asking. Well, for the startup funders, we have specific trainings of entrepreneurship. We have some institutions that train them from management to finance to legal knowledge to IPR. We have many targeted and professional trainings. As for our own team of incubators, we have our own internal training, because in the field of incubation, it takes comprehensive capability and resources and a team who are trained in incubation. For example, we work closely with the Nanyang Polytech University from Singapore, so that we can empower them to serve entrepreneurs. So we have some specialized curriculum and working with external partners to train our own team better. I don't know if this answers your question or not.
Thank you, John. I think due to the time limit, we will save the questions and answer the questions at the end of the event. Okay, so don't worry if your questions are not answered. Please keep the questions in our Q&A box, and we will definitely answer your question before the event ends. Okay, so thank you again, and I would like to now share my screen. Okay. So the next part will be our panel discussion. The main topic is how to build a dynamic and collaborative startup ecosystem community through CAREC program. The two main questions will be, what communication and collaboration mechanism do you wish to establish for the CAREC startup ecosystem community? And what support can you provide for building a strong CAREC innovation community? So before we start, I would like to introduce our panelists. Besides the two speakers that we've already met, we would invite our ecosystem specialist, consultant of ADB, Ms. Hira Wajahat, and Mr. Shayan, Head of Investments and Partnership at National Incubation Center of Pakistan. Okay, welcome everybody. Should we now switch to the screen to include our 4 panelists, please?
Will do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, meanwhile, I think I would like to, thank you. So I'd like to start with Mr. Mossing. Could you give us a 1-minute introduction of the NIC and biggest challenges you have currently? Thank you.
Hello, Harsh. Thank you so much. Great to be with everyone today and great to see all the participation that we have. So the National Incubation Center was one of the first incubation center funded by the government. It's a public-private partnership through which this model is performing in Pakistan. We have been operational for 7 years now, and we have incubated about 300 startups in these 7 years. These startups have gone on to create about 20,000 jobs, raised $29 million in investments and about $25 million in revenues. Although these numbers seem very trivial compared to what we have heard from, for example, China, we need to keep in mind the context where Pakistan is coming from. So when we started in 2016, it was a very, very basic nascent ecosystem. And until 2019, we had hardly raised like $50,000 in investments, and all of the momentum building has been since after 2019, and the last 3 years we have seen about $1 billion in investments. So I think the ecosystem as a whole has come a long way, and we take the pride in the fact that we have contributed towards that. Some of the biggest challenges are right now the political turmoil that is going on as we speak, and also the kind of economic uncertainty that comes with it, the incontinuity of policy that we see, and that hurts. Entrepreneurship itself is a very uncertain field. And when we see a greater uncertainty because of the turmoil that we are going through, that obviously adds fuel to the fire.
Thank you so much. It's good to learn about some ongoing development in the innovation field in Pakistan. That's very new to me, and I think it's also for our audience. And I would also like to maybe ask you a follow-up question. If you have the opportunity to collaborate with our peers in China, what would you go for?
So I remember back in 2019, there was some conference or some event in Guangzhou, China, where the program manager for the National Incubation Center was invited. And it was great to see some of the initiatives that China was taking at that time. Certainly, there were a lot of synergies that we discussed at that time. When the CAREC team approached us during the last few months, this was, again, something that came to my mind, that perhaps there is very little knowledge of what is happening in each other's innovation ecosystem right now. We need a better understanding. So I think the collaboration should kick off from programs where we can educate each other about what is happening in each other's ecosystem, what are the strengths that we have in different countries, and for example, how we can benefit from each other's expertise and the experiences that we have had. So for China, it's much longer ahead of us in the ecosystem and innovation, and therefore I think we have a lot to learn from China's experiences. And if we can form that kind of knowledge exchange program, expertise exchange program with you to learn what you have done and how we can adopt it to the Pakistani ecosystem, that would be great, I think.
Thank you. I think that's exactly what we want to do with our CAREC program team. And we've actually started some initiatives, including the startup map of CAREC. And here we have Ms. Hira. She actually led the CIN initiative, the CAREC Innovation Network initiative. And I would like to ask Hira what has been done and what development you would like to expand, and how do you think we can benefit from our collaboration with Chinese startup ecosystem? Thank you.
So thank you for having me here, Haoshu, and I'll just pick up from where Cheyenne left off. So most of the other CAREC countries still have the ecosystems are still starting off, and we're relatively new compared to the kind of policy support, infrastructure support, investment support that China already has from the government as well as the private sector. And these are the two critical players. So with the CAREC Innovation Network, what we're really trying to do is bring together all the players in the CAREC region and connect them with each other. We exchange information. In the last couple of months, we've been able to build up a community with which we are engaging. We're interacting. We're hosting different sessions on different topics. Related to investments, related to how some startup ecosystems have developed already. So for example, we had an exposure to the Singaporean startup ecosystem last month, and today a more in-depth one into the Chinese ecosystem and the opportunities that there are for other startups, ecosystem players from other markets to also venture into these countries. And most importantly, it's interesting to know that some of the regions in the CAREC specifically, so they have a lot of support, perhaps like funding and even expertise, but they don't have the startups in the region. So they're actually looking for startups from other countries to come and be a part of their ecosystem. And on the other end, you have perhaps some great innovators in countries like Pakistan, or for example, in Mongolia or other CAREC countries like Uzbekistan that have products developed already, but they probably don't have the market because the product is a little bit more tech intensive, more futuristic, maybe more suited for support. And so the thought process, that is required. So I think in that context, the Innovation Network really is serving as a platform where we can start pooling in, connecting people, have these exchanges, and then open up, create opportunities. So whether it's through open innovation challenges, collaborations, if we can get some of the corporate sectors and private sector partners to come in on board as well, host us for maybe exchange visits. And of course, what that really means is that we're looking at a sort of more united regional approach. And then everybody benefits from the strengths of everybody else, as opposed to trying to figure out what we can do with difficult individual situations.
Okay, thank you so much, Hira. I think although we're still at the initial stage of CIN and other initiatives that we're working on, I'm sure through our efforts, we'll definitely make a really strong community. So next question, I would ask our two Chinese speakers. So as Mr. Wassing and also Hira just talked about, there are a lot of needs from the Central Asia region for collaboration and understanding what China has been doing or the ecosystem has achieved in China. And I would like to ask, firstly, are you interested in going to CAREC region? And what would you do in collaborating with them? Okay, I'll repeat my questions in Chinese. 您是否
So do you want to work with the CAREC innovation ecosystem, and on what aspect do you want to cooperate with them? So I will answer first. So first, we are very interested and we very much would like to work with the startup eco partners of CAREC. We would very much like to be integrated into the CID network. Originally, a lot of Chinese innovative projects also would like to cooperate with CAREC partners. For example, in our incubator, we have a project, PharmaCast. He is doing the mine inspecting. They have the micromagnetic technology. They can also apply their technology in health to capture the magnetic signals from human body and from Mother Earth, while helping them working with Russia to work with their Russian partners. We were thinking if with the CAREC Innovation Network, we can also introduce these projects to the CAREC Innovation Network to see if or not our CAREC partners would be interested in cooperating with us. I also welcome there were questions asked if there are startup company from Uzbekistan, can they come to Chinese incubators? Of course, we very much welcome such opportunity to be able to serve startup companies from CAREC. We welcome them to come to China to integrate with the Chinese resources. We provide them with the capital, with incubation resources. I think we can have more in-depth discussions on that. And with the CAREC, I also believe that the value that CAREC Innovation Network can provide.
Before Dr. Ying answers this question, I would like to mention that when I was preparing for the initiative, I reached out to a lot of partners in China, and they all expressed their interest in collaborating with CAREC region partners because they know very little about CAREC and the ecosystem there. I think our work is very valuable to them and will provide a lot of opportunities for not only the CAREC member countries, but also Chinese partners. I think today, John and Kai will give you maybe a nutshell of what we're looking for. Okay, so Dr. Ying, please go ahead.
Okay. 对我们觉得一个是
We felt that overall this is a two-way technology industrialization and transfer. In Central Asian region, if there are innovation teams, innovation companies, we of course would welcome them to come to China to commercialize their research results. China is also a very big market. Global Western is also a sizable market. So the CAREC technology can cooperate with us. Also, no matter doing investment or the companies graduated from our incubators, for example, the Boyi Quantum company that I just invested, they are doing, they find meters and because their main partners are science institute and the companies. So academician Du said that China's science and technology equipment shall go to the world. We also believe our CAREC partners, because Central Asia is very close to China. So the Chinese companies that are well developed, they can also provide cost-effective products. We also would like to introduce these products to Central Asia and to the world. So we hope in terms of how to have two-way exchanges, how to build common financing or capital tool, we can discuss how to build this ecosystem, and also we can export some of China's practical experiences.
So I think it's obvious that we both have very strong desire to collaborate, and that's why we have this series of initiatives by the CAREC program team. And so I invite you to stay tuned and also follow us, follow our webpage. Now I think probably inspired by the speaker's answer, Shayan, do you have more questions for them?
So I see a question in the chat box. It's about Pakistan. So someone has asked, there was a question regarding Pakistan. So yeah, there is someone wanted to know if tech energy startups collaborating with local companies in Pakistan and seeking funding in Pakistan, how can they benefit from CAREC? So what I think is all the players involved, including the National Incubation Center, I think it presents an opportunity for all of us to come together, whether you want to come into Pakistan and you're not located in Pakistan, you're a foreign company, then it presents an opportunity for us to come together. We can help you in establishing your company's subsidiary in Pakistan and forming different partnerships, key strategic partnerships that can help you expand in the Pakistani market. There are some issues, but what local knowledge allows you, or local experts allow you to do, is maneuver around those issues that exist in the market. So for example, if you just keep on watching the news, you will feel like you cannot do anything in Pakistan right now. But the fact of the matter is, people are becoming more and more resilient. The more problems that we see in the market, founders keep finding ways around them to solve those problems. And this is very heartening to see. This is why we are seeing such a thriving sector of entrepreneurship and innovation in Pakistan right now. So as a foreign company, if you wish to come, I think Hira can add to this from the private sector's perspective. But from the public-private partnerships angle, I can assure you that if you want to come into Pakistan, we can definitely help you from everywhere, from incorporating your company to establishing your strategic partnerships and then forming a business strategy for you in Pakistan.
Sounds great. I think since China and Pakistan have a really good relationship, right, historically, and we would also invite our startup ecosystem partners to come and visit. And before that, we probably will hold an on-site event later this year through the Innovation Decoded program initiative. So please join us. And the next question goes to Hira. Since you've been working with the startup ecosystem in the CAREC region through the innovation network, what have you observed or learned of their most urgent needs for maybe more advanced startup ecosystem like in China?
I think the two things that stand out predominantly, one is the kind of expertise and support that they can provide to the startups. Again, given that some of the ecosystem builders are still new, the leveraging on how to connect the academia to the industry, leveraging on those partnerships, and realizing that from the idea, technology development to actually commercialization. So the technical support and capacity building is one element. And the other thing I think would again be the kind of support that market development support or the partnership collaboration support that could be within the players in the country as well as outside. So that if that learning is there, the access to capital happens. And in fact, I think that's not the challenge so much because there is enough investment for the right kind of products and technologies, but really making sure that those technologies get into the market. So I think that technical capacity building is something that the Central Asian region could really benefit from.
Okay, I think definitely China can provide a lot of support and probably showcases on that. So follow up on that, I would like to ask John, what type of support as an incubator, what type of support you've gained from either the government or your partners in the last few years, to give maybe an example for our peers in the CAREC region.
Well, I don't really get the question very well. Okay, I'll repeat the question. In the last few years, as a national incubator and the innovation center, so from the governments and partners, what kind of support you have received, be it capacity related or policy related? Well, as an incubator, our survival development are met with challenges. So it largely depends on the support of governments. Of course, support from partners is equally important. In Shanghai, so the Shanghai Science and Technology Commission and all levels of local government have given us important support. For example, for important events and activities or roadshows for key projects are all given to us. So we organize those events. I remember an audience asking me this question, whether I can talk more, elaborate on in building the brand, what are the tools and methods that I can use of. Well, I think that it's important to cultivate the vibe and environment for innovation. So make us known to more startups and entrepreneurs. So holding such an event is one of the tools. For example, we organize some challenge competition. We also have a IC University innovation competition and also some electronic startup competition. So all those challenges and competitions that we host have given us informations about good projects and also make us known to more startups and entrepreneurs. So because we are trusted and supported by the government also supports us with funds. So not only we can build a reputation and lower our cost. Of course, we are located in Jiading of Shanghai. We have an alliance called the Alliance of Jiading. So more than 50 incubators in Jiading come together, establish an alliance. So we are the founder and the secretariat of such alliance, so that we can mobilize and coordinate the resources among us. We complement each other very well. We together serve the entrepreneurs community. So that's the support from partners. Shanghai is an international and a good startup environment. That's how we can survive and prosper.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I would like to ask Dr. Ying another question. Based on your experience, what kind of investment advice can we provide to universities and research institutes in the CAREC region to enhance their ability to transform scientific research into market value?
OK，谢谢啊。那个我觉得可以分为以下几个方
Well, I think there's several aspects to it.
中国科学技术大学的学生啊，当然
Because I was a graduate of a China Science and Technology University, and also we've done lots of incubation work.
在市场上
And when you look at the commercialization of the research of China Science and Technology University, be it locally or in the market,
顶尖的几个行业
they've been doing very well. They found some cutting-edge
研究所也好的特点，
directions
应该
based on their own strengths and characteristics.
的院士是吧？大家都知道。
For example,
科技，那围绕人工智能啊，有科大讯飞这几个具象的行业方向，我觉得做了很多的创新创业的这样的一个工作，所以我觉得围绕整个
Dr.
市场
Pa, there is no translation from Chinese.
这个对于机构来说也很重要。第二呢，正好上周也是在科大他们做了一个完整的关于科大赋权改革的这样的一个政策啊，国家给予了这个我们几个研究所有赋权改革的这样的一个 这个特色。当然呢，各个学校和机构需要细化，所以呢，对于政策的这个明确和制定也是非常关键的。当然，我不知道在中亚地区或者国外地区有没有相应的什么国资这样的一些监管啊。反正关于政策的明确，也会给老师们打消很多的这个顾虑。第三呢，就是我们整体的，我觉得这个体系的搭建，我觉得研究所或学校自建也好，或者说我们形成很紧密的合作关系也好无非就是围绕科创服务和科技金融这两个具体的这个手段和工具来搭建好自身擅长的这样的一个整个成果转化链条的一个服务体系吧。那当然比如科创服务可能学校自己做起来相对简单一些呢，科技金融因为有的涉及牌照业务，那我们可以挑我们擅长的自建，那其他的这个跟合作方或者跟相应的国有机构共同合作，我觉得也是挺好的一个方式。那第四点呢，我觉得也是非常重要的，就是通过产业伙伴或者说我们叫这个龙头企业的带动也是我觉得现阶段成果转化特别重要的一环一方面我们从源头往龙头去推，另外一方面从龙头往早期去拉，我觉得形成中间的这样的一个节点特别关键因为从零一直做到100、10000也是很难的一个事儿，所以呢，我觉得产业的联盟或者产业的合作伙伴也非常重要。最后呢，我觉得确实也是一定要搭建深入的合作伙伴，是吧？我觉得这个泛谈合作的人很多，所以我觉得能够深入相互了解相互能够理念一致的合作伙伴的平台也非常重要。大概这5个方面，谢谢。
Thank you. Okay, I think that's quite comprehensive, and I hope it helps. My last question goes to Mr. Mossing. What mechanism and tools do you think ADB can provide for the correct startup ecosystem community? And how can the Innovation Decoded Initiative in China episode can further help you through webinars and in-person events? Thank you. So Shayan, could you?
Sorry, I couldn't hear. There was a breakage. I couldn't hear anything that you said.
Don't type.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me better now? Okay,
yes.
So my question is, what mechanism and tools do you think ADB can provide for the correct startup ecosystem community? And how can the Innovation Decoded Initiative China episode that we're entering today can further help you through webinars and in-person events?
Okay, so I'll take the last part of the question first. In the webinar and other things that we can get a support from you, I think what would be a great point is having this cultural knowledge. So there is a lot of cultural differences, ethnic differences, language differences between China and Pakistan. Although we are great friends, but the population does not know a lot about what is happening in the market. I'll give you one example. There is a very good startup that we have in Pakistan. It has just gone through our incubation center. It's called Algorithm. They are working on providing patented solutions to the wind farm sector. They wanted to expand into China. Took us a lot of effort, but we couldn't find a single way to enter into China. These are the sort of barriers that we face. And I think what would be great is first to have through webinars or some other forums, a knowledge session on regular basis where we can inform people in each other's countries, the innovators, the entrepreneurs in each other's countries, what are the market dynamics, how the market is going, what you need to prepare yourself if you wish to expand into the other market. So this would be the starting point. And then going forward from there, what we can particularly expect from the CAREC's broader collaboration is forming some sort of formalized collaboration For example, to help startups like Algorithm to expand into each other's countries, helping them opening each other's mentor network, investment networks, and all of that to each other through proper formalized channels, so that there is all the security that you need or the confidentiality that you need for your setup, but also providing access to the innovators who want to do business from across border.
Okay, sounds great. We do have planned out a series of events, online events, I will show you in a bit feedback form that you can fill and choose what topics you're interested. So this is definitely one of our topics that we would like to discuss in the future. So then thank you so much, our panel specialists. And I would love to keep talking with you. And definitely through our initiative, we would love to collaborate and improve our collaboration in the whole region. Thank you so much. And now, I had promised that we will have our speakers to answer all the questions, this maybe take a couple of more minutes. Sorry about that. But now let's go through the questions. Meanwhile, I'll share my screen to show everybody this code. Oops, sorry. Okay, so this is our feedback form. It will show you the topics that we've prepared for you. And if you're interested, please let us know what we can improve. And at the same time, I will go back. I'll leave this here. I hope it's showing the correct. Okay. So right now I'm going back to ask a few more questions to our speakers. You can also find the feedback form link in our webinar chat box. Okay, so one more question to John. In Chinese, 所有 CAREC 国家需要
So all the CAREC countries urgently need cooperation on incubators. For example, in Pakistan, we have all kinds of startups working on deep tech projects. How do we create collaborations with Chinese incubators to share knowledge, experience, and bring investment opportunities for startups working on deep tech, hard tech projects? Can we collaborate through MOU with Chinese and Pakistan incubators? Just now, I already answered this question in a chat box. I'm very glad we can use the MOU. We can sign an MOU, establish our working relationship. After we establish such a working relationship, we can have online, offline exchanges. We can also exchange visits. And then we can discuss case by case on specific projects, how to serve and industrialize these startups.
Also arrange a series of MOU collaboration when we hold our event in China. So please join us and give us your advice on that. Another question from Sad. How does your organizations collaborate with the Chinese universities? Do you feel universities play important role in generating ideas or developing products? Can you share any examples of success? 我简单翻译一下。
I'll briefly translate. So your organization been cooperating with Chinese universities? Do you think the Chinese universities under this new innovation and new product development, do you think the university play in important role, and could you share some successful cases? I think universities, of course, in science and technology innovation, at least at the bottom of technology promotion, they played very important role because most of the sources of the innovation are within universities. As I said briefly, our university, it's a Guoyi Liangzi. It is a manufacturer that we incubated who produce science and technology equipment. At that time, because professors of their university, when they tried to buy such equipment, they found the seller didn't refuse to sell the equipment to them and raise the price on spot. So in their own laboratory with the funding support, they created their own company to produce such equipment. And they are also developing very well. As long as we can find the market demand, and as long as we are able to find the researchers and the teams. Now, according to Ministry of Education or to the central government, we are also exploring new ways to commercialize and industrialize these research results, because now universities need to focus more on teaching, education, and fundamental researches. So as we said, these universities, they establish new rules and policies and new modalities regarding the industrializing commercialization of research results. We could also see companies that are successful. Indeed, they have famous professors and academicians. They lead their students and led by their students would lead their startup companies, which is more appropriate. The professors would focus more on teaching. So that could be a well-developed modality.
I'll probably just repeat it in Chinese so the speaker can understand better. 其他国家的初创企业可以加入。
Can other countries startups join China's incubators? If yes, what are the criteria? At what stage of the startup, pre-seed capital or seed capital round? This question is to John.
John. 任总有听到吗？
Mr. Ren, do you hear us? Yes. So could you repeat your question? So can startups from other countries join Chinese incubators? What are the criteria? At what stage, the startup of what stage could they join? Pre-seed capital or seed capital? Well, the startups at different stage have opportunity to join Chinese incubators. But for specific case, specific project, we need to evaluate different incubators. They have their own track. They serve different customers and different tracks. So we need to be selective, or we might recommend your project to incubators that might be more suitable for you. As we said, in Shanghai, we have a incubator alliance, which is the network of Chinese incubators in China. We can connect you with more incubator peers. So you will be able to find the most suitable incubator in China to better serve the startup companies and entrepreneurs.
Let me see. I think we have one more question. Let me find the last question here. John, can you provide more? Oh, let me repeat in Chinese. John, 你可以提供更
So,
多
John, can you provide more details regarding the brand development and instruments you use? Just now, I already answered this question. Okay.
We have all the questions answered, and if I didn't answer your question or our speakers didn't answer your question, please reach out again through our webpage. And I think we will have further opportunities to talk with all of you. We will have our event webinars organized and held every month, or probably every other week. So please follow our webpage and pay attention to our updated news. So, all right, I think that's all for today. And I hope you all enjoy our event. And please go ahead and give us your feedback through our feedback form. Let's look forward to the next event. And thank you all for your time for today. Thank you and bye. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And goodbye to everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.